I probably spend more of my time talking my clients out of buying houses than I talking into buying houses.
So when it comes to marketing, one of the things I find really interesting is there's a lot of ways to be successful in this business. And usually on the show, we talk to a lot of agents who have had success with calling their past clients, doing hundreds of community events and things of that nature. But when I was talking to you, Mickey, you've actually done an amazing job at acquiring, converting, and then getting repeat business from leads that started out as online leads. And so I wanted to have you on today in person because we're actually in the same city, so I was excited about that, to talk about how to do that well. Because I know in the current market that we're in, the price of leads is going up, and so making sure you're working those in an efficient way has never been more important, especially as Zillow Flex changes things in the way they're doing things and agents are looking for new options. So Mickey Larson, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So why don't you give us a quick little walkthrough of like how you got started in real estate? What did your first, and how long have you been in the business, and what past experience did you bring into real estate?
Sure. So been in the business for a little over 2 years. I was an attorney way back. I ran a commercial roofing company, ran a local pest control company, and then kind of jumped in with both feet into real estate.
So you had the entrepreneurial side going for you, and you had a lot of experience managing different types of business. Why real estate, right? Like, why not law? Why not one of those things? Why did real estate call you?
To be totally honest, it's been kind of progressively less stress.
Less stress.
The attorney side was, very, very stressful. It's just been careers with progressively less stress. Found this, and it's been, I have a blast out there, honestly.
I love that you find something you like. So that's number one, probably the first lesson to everyone listening, just like stop being stressed about real estate. It's not that crazy. It's probably like the stress is what you want to make out of it. Like you're obviously still handling, hundreds of thousands of dollars in transactions for your clients, but from a stress perspective, you've been able to minimize it because you truly love what you do every day.
Yeah. I think it's great. I think it really boils down to as long as I know that I'm doing the right thing for my clients. Everything else kind of falls into place.
I love that.
That's start from doing the next right thing, and what's the worst that could happen.
Absolutely. So 2 years in, what was your production like? What was your at the end of, I guess, last year, at the end of, and then right now for the year?
I think last year I did just over 10 million, and this year I'm at I think 11 and a half. I think should get close to 15 probably.
These are numbers that we just don't typically see from newer real estate agents. So we talked before we started shooting the podcast today, and you mentioned that a lot of that business was coming from online lead sources. So is that where you initially thought your business would come from, or how did you kind of land on that as one of your bigger lead sources?
To be totally honest, I really didn't know. Initially I was kind of the sense I got from the online lead sources was that they were, low quality. It was, you'd be lucky if somebody shows up, and that honestly just wasn't what I found. Started doing it, and it was enough to keep me busy where, maybe to a fault, it kind of kept me busy enough to stop me from doing the follow-up that I should and whatnot with my sphere. But in terms of the leads being low quality, I've had maybe 3-4 no-shows, and I don't know how many leads I've done a lot. It's been, I don't know, I feel like they've been pretty solid.
So let's talk about your lead flow. So first of all, where are you getting these leads from? Because there's so many lead sources out there, and people always ask which ones are good, which ones are higher quality. So first, are most of these buyer leads, seller leads, investor leads, or both?
So mostly, I would say buyer leads.
Okay.
Every now and then, investor lead comes through, and it's primarily Zillow. I've got some other online lead sources, but it's, primarily for my first 2 years, it's been mostly Zillow, and then the resulting referrals from them, and I might get second, third transactions from some of them.
Okay. Do you know what percentage of your business closed was originally a Zillow lead versus a referral from a Zillow lead or a second or third transaction?
Probably 85% plus.
85% is new leads that came online, and then the other 15% is friends of those people, et cetera.
Now I would say the 15% would be referrals and personal deals or,
okay.
Sphere of influence, things like that.
So when you're getting, and first of all, like, we talked about that difference between like seller leads and buyer leads, and I think that's a huge topic of conversation because so many agents think that they want listing leads. Those leads, from all of the data that I've looked at, oftentimes are much more expensive, and then they're usually still shopping you. So you run this risk of, you buy seller leads, they can be anywhere from $25 a piece. I've seen $400 to $600 a piece. But then you get multiple leads, you show up, you do a listing appointment, you don't convert it, and then you're almost at a point where you have to land 1 in every 5 just to break even on that lead spend. Versus with a buyer lead, yes, you're driving around, you're showing houses, etc., but sometimes they have a house to sell. Like, that buyer lead does not know that they are only a buyer lead to you when they also might have a house to sell. So I think realtors, lenders, people buying leads need to really think about what they're buying. You don't want to exclude something just because it's not your number 1 draft pick in your mind.
I mean, personally, I look at it as, to me, it's somebody that I wouldn't have had a chance to interact with, and all of a sudden I do. It's whether the lead costs $400, whether it costs $25, realistically, it's somebody who, I'm going to, in the majority of circumstances, I'm going to end up doing, $500,000, $1 million in business, hopefully more in the long term. And it's, I feel fortunate just to have it. I guess I don't really do too much thinking about, I don't really think about that stuff. To be totally honest, I'm kind of just, I go out there, I'm happy to get out there and help the people. And, whether it's somebody, I'm showing up and doing a $50,000 vacant land lead, or whether I'm doing a, $1 million house. Realistically, it's the same to me.
Well, it's very much about running the play, right? Like, you kind of know, if I get this amount of leads, I will close this amount of business, and every year I can experience some type of positive growth. What I find to be really interesting when you look at like new agents who do well versus new agents that don't, it's almost like it's like a race, right? It's a race to get leads, it's a race to get that first closing, and it's a race to then replicate what works. And I feel like the path you went down very much happened because you got into real estate and said, okay, where's my business? You got an online lead that was from a paid source, whether it was from you or from your broker, doesn't really matter. It worked, and then you said, okay, let's just do more of that. And you then multiply, spend more, put more hours into it, and it works. Versus those agents who maybe they got their first couple deals at open houses, and they say, okay, well, now I'm going to do 10 a week, and I'm just going to amplify that. But when you're a new realtor or a new salesperson in any industry, it's so important to make sure that whatever you see working, you then double down until the point of diminishing returns, I think.
Yeah, that's, I guess that's what's been, I've gotten a lot of advice, to try to get away from the, relying so much on the leads. And I'm putting some effort into that, but realistically, it's like the don't kill the golden goose. It's been very good to me. I've met people that I'm friends with. I've had a lot of success with it. I don't feel like I've been working an inordinate amount to get what I've got. And I've been having a blast. So there's, like you say, if it's working, you keep doing it. I think the important piece is getting out there, and from what I've seen with other newer agents that I've worked with, I think what seems to do them in, the ones that I've seen not succeed, has been going out and being focused on commission. And I think clients see that. And really, like, I take my duties to my clients very seriously. I'm putting their interest before my interest. And that's, a lot of times that might be, I probably spend more of my time talking my clients out of buying houses than I talk them into buying houses. And I think that's, I'm trying to help them. Really, I'm trying to help them make investment decisions that they're going to be happy with in the long term. And a lot of times that's going to mean not buying the first house we see, or
That almost, that makes me think, you're doing what most people would think of, but you're doing the opposite of what all of the other realtors who are buying leads are doing, right? Because I think a lot of agents who buy leads are looking at it just very much black and white as a business. And so you buy the leads, you want to spend as little time with them as possible, you want to get the highest commission possible, and you want to move on to the next one. And I think you're using the normal traditional realtor approach, offering your time, your value, your expertise, building trust, and then you're able to convert at a higher rate because of that.
Yeah, and over time, like, there's still, there are so many people who I might start working with, and whatever comes up financially for them or something. The deal isn't going to happen right away. So I'll stay in communication with them, maybe weekly, maybe every couple of weeks. They seem to, come out of the woodworks. It's, I think they've fallen off, and I think some people, maybe they ignore them and they end up coming back to work for you. So it's, I try not to like the churn and burn. I mean, I can't speak for other agents. I don't know how they're handling it, but yeah, I guess to be honest, I don't think much about that stuff. I don't think much about the ROI. I'm happy to have somebody out there who's gonna meet me out there and wants to do business with me. And, I treat them well. They seem to treat me well in response, and just
well, at the end of the day, it sounds like your style as a realtor is really to offer that human connection that a lot of customers don't even necessarily know that they want, right? Mm-hmm. They're these same people who, instead of asking their friend for a recommendation on a realtor, they went to Zillow, they went to some other online lead source. And whether or not they realize how that giant platform works, they ended up talking to you. And then they built a human connection with you. And I think when you're telling them, don't buy this house, you're actually able to build a lot more trust with someone off of a no than you are on like, hey, yes, go buy this. It's almost like, when you go to buy a pair of jeans at the store and you ask the sales girl, hey, how does it look? And she's like, oh my God, amazing. And then there's like another person like 5 feet away that's like, don't do it, don't do it. I mean, I don't want a realtor who's telling me yes on every single property. I want you telling me what I don't know about it. And I remember when I was a first-time home buyer, I sent my realtor a couple properties I liked, and he's like, you're looking in all the wrong places. He's like, this one's a condo with a super huge HOA. You wouldn't have known that. This is what it's going to be. It's not going to be in your budget. This one over here might be good for right now, but you're not going to like it in 2 years because of this reason, that reason, everything. And they all say, fair housing compliant, whatever. But I immediately had more trust after I was told no and explained why it was a no, because that helps my knowledge of what I should be looking for grow. I mean, I think that's really where we're not going to get replaced by AI, at least in the short term. I'm sure AI will figure it out soon. Like, those robots are smart, but that's what people want right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people, a lot of the clients who I've had conversations with about these things, they feel like they were, it's kind of their agents in the past that they've worked with have just gone along with them, whatever they said. If what they said was leading to them buying this particular house or leading to get a deal done, that's what the agent agreed.
They're yes people.
Yeah, and like you said, I think they don't really know what they want until they get out there and have somebody say, I think this is a terrible idea. Like, I'm going to work hard for you if this is the house that you want. Ooh, you're telling me you're not handy, in this, like, this house is going to take you 2 years to fix up. Like, is that really what?
There's a fine line, right? Like, you don't want to come off as negative, and you don't want to throw a wrench into something. However, it is our fiduciary obligation as real estate professionals to let someone know all the things that are going to come up with this property in the future, and to let them know our true and honest opinions on it. Now, I think that can also become a really good question for the client when you first start working with them, right? There's different personality types, and you can ask them, hey, do you want me, when you send me a house and you're interested, do you want me to tell you like what's wrong with it? Or when you're sending this to me, do you just want a quick yes? Because some people might just want that. They think they know everything. And that's one personality type. But I think a huge majority of people, especially first-time homebuyers, do want that real expertise behind it. And at the end of the day, like, that is why a real estate agent is worth the commission that they're charging, because they're offering all of that. It's almost like an insurance policy on a house.
Sure. I think a lot of that, like you said, with first-time homebuyers especially, I think getting out and seeing the houses, like, I'd almost never, unless I've been working with somebody a long time, I almost never try to shoot down the house before we go and see it. Unless I know somebody, somebody says they don't want a certain type of work, and I can see that the house is going to need that work. But otherwise, I encourage them to, like, I want you to get out and see more houses. The more we get through, I can see what you're looking for, and I can kind of talk you through that process. I mean, it seems like when we go out, whatever the characteristic of the house may be, or the characteristic of the neighborhood, or whatever it is, I'll hear if it's a couple, I'll hear, one person bringing this up constantly, and maybe the other one doesn't really say anything about it. And so You know, I don't know if Jim wants the house without a garage or something. It sounded like that was a hard no for him. Is that, like, are you guys really looking for something that doesn't have a garage? Whatever it may be.
One thing that's a big difference is, like, when people are searching for homes, they're typing in what they think they want, but when you are working with them, you're actually listening to what they actually want. Like, what the words that are coming out of their mouth versus, like, what they're willing to tell someone. And I think a good sales professional is able to educate someone on what they should be looking for versus what they think they should be looking for. Because that I think I want a house in the best possible school district, walking distance to this, and the reality that in this area is those houses have really small backyards, there's no place for my kids to play, my bills are going to be crazy, I'm going to be so house poor I won't even be able to enjoy the local area, and I want my realtor to educate me on all of that beforehand.
Yeah, same thing with quirky houses. You know, the vast majority of people, I don't care about A, B, and C. It's surprising how many people come looking, just needs 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. And I'm like, there's a lot of houses that are 3 bedrooms, 2 baths.
We got to narrow this down a little bit.
Narrow down the price range, but a lot of the advice I give ends up being on kind of functionality versus saleability. Like, you might be able to live with that, but someday you're going to sell your house, and somebody else might not want to, walk through the entryway to get to their bedroom, or quirky things like that. And so there's a lot of that. I mean, it's, I guess, not binding on anything in the end, but it's, I think, a lot of things that the value of seeing hundreds and hundreds of houses and seeing what people tend to want, don't want. I mean, that's where the experience comes into play. I can point those things out. Like, when somebody buys your house, this house doesn't have forced air heat. That's a big deal here. Like, that's a tough sell. Those houses tend to sit if they don't have forced air heat. Somebody buying that for the first time, it might be I can live with radiant heat. That's fine. That's great. Just know, when you go to sell your house, you're going to have a harder time selling it. It's going to sell for less. And that's something in my experience as a buyer, I would never given thought to that.
So what are some of those things where, as a realtor with all this, with your experience now, what are some of those items where, when you notice it's happening, it doesn't necessarily come up as a huge deal to your clients, but from experience, will be an issue selling? So you mentioned forced heat. You mentioned awkward design a little bit. What are some of the other big ones?
No garage.
No garage.
Tends to be here. Depends on where it is. You're closer to downtown, people might expect that. Those are big ones. I think it's just like quirkiness of the layout. I think there are seeing basement repairs, waterproofing in the basement, even though logically you'd say you'd feel better about that basement having a guarantee that that water's not going to come in. At least here in the Grand Rapids market, that's killer for price. Same thing with foundation repairs. You put the steel I-beams against the wall, even though, again, logically you should feel better about your foundation not caving in. It kills you on price. And so that's something with first-time home buyers. I point out, you got to balance those. You might get a deal on the house, but when you go to sell it, just know.
But you might have to give a deal if you want to get it sold
100%.
again. And I think that kind of boils down to this idea of walking people through what type of a rush they were in when they were trying to buy and sell. The last one, if they think they're going to be, there's a likely chance that they're going to be in a rush when they're trying to sell this the second time. And if it's a property that you've already advised them is going to be hard to sell, or is going to take significant price reductions and changes to move it, that's when they need to think about ahead of time. Because, a home sitting on the market for 60 days isn't just a financial burden, but that's stressful. And we've already talked about, you want to eliminate some stress from your life and from your clients' life.
And from theirs, yeah. And especially younger home buyers too, who all they've seen is, somebody in their mid-20s or something. All they've seen it's been a crazy market where things are expected to fly off the shelves in the first weekend. And at some point that won't be the case. And so some of these things that people are willing to live with now, you go to sell your house, who knows how long that'll be, but you find yourself in a tougher market like that. I don't want to feel like I didn't warn them that at some point this might be an issue if the market slows down.
And I think that's a really important point for real estate agents, is to walk people through what the market is right now, but also to walk them through what this home looks like in a different market, right? It might be better, or it might get harder. And that I think is one of the things that realtors oftentimes don't even introduce because they don't want to throw a wrench in the process, but it's almost the biggest value item that they could possibly offer.
Yes.
Let's go back a little bit. So you buy the leads, you get the leads. Like, I mean, are you, like, how fast are you calling them? What is your initial follow-up on them? Because I've read a lot that that initial phone call, how fast it is, the type of information you communicate is really what cinches the deal. And looking at your lead numbers, conversion numbers based compared to everyone else, yours is exponentially higher. So I'm curious to see how you handle that initial lead and what does that first hour, day, week, month look like for you for that new lead that you.
Sure. I mean, honestly, the conversation I keep minimal. I mean, I think what kills leads for a lot of people is diarrhea of the mouth, where they're saying a lot of things that, I mean, somebody wants to see a house, they want to get out and see the house. You know, they don't know me from anybody, so me trying to push all these questions on them about what they're looking for and whatnot, they don't even know who they're talking to.
It's not about you at that point, right?
It's nothing.
These, for most people listening, like a buyer lead is someone who goes to a website like Zillow or wherever, they see a pretty house. It's really cute. It's almost like they're on Tinder swiping for people.
Right.
But they see the pretty house, they click, show me the house, I want to go see this. It goes to you, they don't care about you.
Right.
They want to see the house.
No concern.
Your first step is you give them what they want and you cut out the fluff.
Yeah, I mean, I've got usually the communication is by text. It's a very brief text, just reaching out to confirm our showing or to, schedule a showing at 123 Main Street, and that's it. And then I'm not shooting out confirmation texts. I'm not asking questions. I'm not trying to see ahead of time whether they want to go see other properties. I'm going to meet them at the property, because of what I've found is that most of the people who end up meeting with me end up working with me.
Well, I think you're actually playing on some really great, just like traditional psychology there. Like if I meet you right now and I ask you for $100, what are you going to say?
No, I would imagine.
Do you have a penny in your pocket?
I mean, I don't, but.
Would you give me a penny? Like,
sure,
I seem like a nice guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to go into the small request because a small request has a higher chance of a yes. A big request has a 0% chance. But if I can get you to give me that penny right now, and then we start talking, maybe we spend an hour together, we do that showing, then I can get you to give me something bigger in the future. And I feel like you've taken that approach with online leads and used it to just get your foot in the door and then talk a little bit more, listen to what they're doing, build some trust, they realize they like you, and then you close them 30 days later, 60 days later, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I go out, I genuinely care about how the transaction comes out for the person. I'm really trying to do what's in their best interest or help them do what's in their best interest. And I think people see that. I think I don't even know how many clients bring up the commission on the breath. They get the sense from some of the agents that it's, everything is about the commission, and I think it shows. And yeah, I just do whatever it's not something I'm conscious of, I guess. I genuinely care how the deals go for the people, whether they work with me for, I get people that have worked with me for a year and a half and they decide that they're going to go back to renting. Like, if that's what's best for them and the time being, they don't know where they're going to be in a year and a half. I mean, maybe that makes the most sense for them, and that's whatever. If I showed them a bunch of houses, I mean, sure, it works out fine, because I've got other people that have, some of them buy the first house they see.
Right. It's always a balancing, but it's just this numbers game of, if you always know that you're working with X amount of people, a percentage of them are just going to work out nicely and be quick. Some are going to take a while, but that's the game that we're in, that we've been playing for 100 years now.
And some people it's great when it doesn't work out quick. I mean, ultimately, there's some of the best clients I have that I think will end up referring me a lot of business over the years. I mean, are the people that I've been I looked with for a year and a half, and that's how I've gotten to know.
Well, it strengthens your relationship, right? And I think too many sales professionals look at it and see the negative in a customer that doesn't immediately buy or list. Yeah. But at the end of the day, that's another hour in the car you have with them. That's another, it's 6 months more to build that relationship, and the amount of, we call them current client referrals that you can get off of that extra time is actually huge. And a lot of people build their entire business on those referrals from active clients. because those are the ones who at work, everyone's like, oh, what are you up to? And they're like, oh, I was seeing houses all weekend with my realtor, Mickey. Oh, no way. What's his number? I need a realtor. And that's how you can get referred.
Yeah, 100%. That's, I mean, every person to me, I meet those, I meet somebody out there, and it's I mean, if you're looking at it from an ROI standpoint, I mean, it's somebody handing you a potential lifelong referral source. I mean, for a few $100s.
Right.
And so that's to look at it like even, the vacant land leads a lot of times get dogged on. And it's like realistically, somebody's looking, they can afford a piece of vacant land. They potentially have a sale to make. They've got, so I try to treat those almost like listing leads. I'm going out there and hoping somebody's going to go build a house on this vacant land they're looking to buy, and that's a list.
By the way, like when they eventually do build that house, there's a good chance that they're going to sell something else, and then you get a second one. So, I mean, when people immediately go to exclude a certain lead type just because it's not what sounds the easiest for the immediate, I mean, you're really shooting yourself in the foot.
Absolutely.
Did you ever see the movie Glengarry Glen Ross?
I did.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about like the beginning of that movie. It's like a dark and stormy night, and the old guy goes, "These leads are shit," and then Alec Baldwin goes, "They're not shit. You are. Hit the bricks, pal. Like, let's go." Yeah. I mean, it's the mentality of the person who looks at the leads and how they choose they're going to look at that situation that I think really affects that. At the end of the day, if you put the time in, you can mine diamonds out of anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you care about the outcome, you're doing the right thing for the clients. Like, it's just, I don't know whether it's karma, I don't know what it is, but it comes back to you. Like, I feel like the bar is set very low in our industry, and I feel like people are basic customer service. I feel like makes you stand out, and people
couldn't agree more.
People notice it, even though it's things like returning text messages quickly, things like that. I mean, they stand out, So
what's next, right? So you've built this business. You're in the top 1% of all realtors just in your first 2 years already, which is pretty epic. What are you planning on next? Like, how are you planning to change, grow, do different things, or are you just going to kind of keep doing the same thing forever?
So I hope not just keep doing the same thing in terms of, want to grow. But my son Nolan just got into the business.
Oh, congratulations. Business.
Yeah, so I've got another son who is interested in getting into the flipping and whatnot. Hopefully I'd like to get the family involved. So no real hardcore business goals, I guess, but I'd like to get my family involved where it's not always time away from them if I'm out showing houses or working on investment properties, things like that. It's more getting the family involved, and other than that, it's my goal on the sales side of things has been. Initially, they told me one a month, which I thought was very, very conservative. So it's been getting one a week under contract, and to me that seems like that's probably a goal I'll have for a while.
It's a tangible and doable goal. Get one home per week under contract.
Yes.
And so from there, you're able to work backwards and figure out how many leads do I need to buy in order for me to get that many showings, to then get that many deals under contract, to then close whatever amount that ends up being. And it's a very mathematical thing that you don't need to stress out about. It's just about putting that work in.
Yes, and don't wait for the closings. At least me, I need that instant gratification. If I wait for, by the time I get to the closing, I need to check it up when it's under contract. Some of them are going to fall apart, but that's from a sales side advice. I don't know what's traditional with that, but for me, I'm not counting closings. I'm counting how many did I get under contract.
It sounds like you're really tracking a lot more of the qualitative sides of the deal. Like, even the fact that your main goal right now is not just like make more money, it's to bring your family in. It's almost like I can see the wheels turning. You're just trying to convert your time into more enjoyable time, more meaningful time. And I could tell that that's a mentality that a lot of people, I think everyone says that they want to do that, but then they get lost in the actual business and the work side of real estate, and they end up building a business that they hate. You're slowly making changes to build, you already like your business, you're a happy guy, you're doing the right thing, but you're adding in little tweaks here and there to make it more enjoyable, which I think we all know is going to lead to more total business.
Yes.
Especially because like your kids are coming in and they have a whole new set of friends and they have a whole
100%.
new sphere and a whole new mentality of like how they're going to communicate with some of these leads. And it's going to be really great to transition what you're doing into that next generation.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening, if you have a client moving to Michigan, client moving to Grand Rapids, and they need a person that's going to really put the time in, how would they get a hold of you, Mickey?
Look me up. I've got a website in the works, but it's not out there yet. But yeah, I mean, look me up. Won't put the phone number out on the internet.
Yeah. If someone's not smart enough to find you, they're probably not worth working with, right?
That's fair.
You're a little bit more of a secret agent because you're so good.
I don't know if that's accurate, but yeah, that's. I mean, somebody can find me. I got profiles up. So
Hit up social, look up Mickey Larson, and give us a connection. Yeah. And anyone that's been listening, if you could go onto the podcast store that you're listening on and leave us a quick review, that will help us to continually find great agents across the country that we can have on the show. Thanks, Mickey. Appreciate your time today.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.